The Carisbrook Stadium hit the news last week when it emerged building company Calder Stewart had put in an offer of $3.3 million for land. All sorts of figures have been bandied about in the media in relation to the sale of the ground, which was bought by the Dunedin City Council as it developed Forsyth Barr Stadium. Mayor Dave Cull joins us now to shed some light on the issue. Good evening, Dave.
Good morning. Or evening.
Indeed. Give us a little bit of the background on this. How did the council come to be owning it?
In 2009, the council purchased Carisbrook from the Otago Rugby Football Union for $7 million. And they did that because, that was the previous council, they did that because the ORFU was in financial trouble, and it was felt that if they were paid, if they sold their only asset, Carisbrook, that would give them sufficient funds to repay their debts and be viable as a tenant for the new stadium. Now, that decision by council wasn't unanimous. There were some of us, and I was one of them, who felt that it wasn't appropriate and we didn't need to buy it. Nonetheless, council decided to. Council funded that $7 million by a $5 million loan that it took, borrowed money, but the ORFU already owed council $2 million. So you take the $5 million and the $2 million, make $7 million, was paid for, and the council got Carisbrook.
Now, the council's property department has been talking about selling this property for some time. Has it been difficult to sell? Yes,
it has been very difficult to sell. Some parts of it, there were some houses in Burn Street, they sold relatively easily, although they were in very poor condition and didn't realise a great price. But the rest of it has proven difficult to sell. The market has not been good.
The land was sold in sections.
Yes.
How much has been taken in from those sales?
Right. The Burn Street properties, houses, returned $740,000. Half of the Burn Street car park netted $408,000. It was more than that, the gross figure, but there was some contamination on the site which had to be cleaned up, and that cost some money, some other costs. And now Calder Stewart have offered 3.3 conditionally for the main ground. So that's a total of $4.448 million, and we still have half of the car park to sell.
So that's around $3 million in a loss?
At the moment, clearly we paid $7 million for the site. Realistically, we're not going to get much more than $5 million back, so there's a loss.
Do we know what the land is going to be used for?
It's zoned industrial, and it'll be used for industrial purposes.
Are we likely to see the end of Carisbrook, its walls come down?
Look, it will be up to the owner, but I can't imagine they'll be able to develop it as an industrial site without demolishing a fair bit of what's there. But you'd have to say a fair bit of what's there is not much use.
Now, the Historic Places Trust does have a bit of an interest in an aspect or two of the ground. Has that been taken into account that you're aware of? Oh,
it will have been. If there's a listing on it as a Category 1 or 2 or whatever it is, then whoever the owner is has to honour that.
And the ORFU's $2 million debt to the council has been raised as well. Does that still factor in the issue anywhere?
Well, it doesn't anymore, because that was taken in 1997 and it was repaid in 2009 by way of part of the purchase price of Carisbrook, so it's been repaid.
And they're all square now, absolutely.
Yes.
Dave Cull, Mayor of Dunedin, thanks very much for your time.